Greetings students, in this video tutorial we will be discussing how to make this online admission form. This project is for class 10th students of computer application. Students, in this program we will be declaring table inside the form tag so as to get the desired layout of the form as is shown in the image so that we see the fields next to each other. Otherwise, they will appear one below each other. To make them appear side by side, we are adding table into the form, and respectively we declare table rows and table data. As we can see, we will now be coding the first row of the form such that each of the table data represent each of the fields in the form in the first row. Here we have four columns or four fields. So we will have four TD tags, one for class, one for section, one for first name and other for second name. Similarly, for the next row, we will have as many TD elements as the fields in that particular row. Here we have created this code block for the class to be formed in this form, and we are going to copy all of this and we are going to make some changes to this code, and we are going to make it the section field in the form. The required attribute of the select or of any field in the form makes that particular field a mandatory field. The form will not be submitted until unless we fill that particular field of the form. So for that we use the required attribute, meaning the value in this particular field is required before submission. So here we see we have successfully made the first row of this particular form, where we have made the class and section, first name and second name. Similarly, we will just add another row to this particular table. You can see the closing tag of the table, but before closing tag of that table we are going to add the second row of the form. Similarly, we will have 6 7 rows which correspond to all the particular fields in the as shown in this image, because we are trying to imitate that particular form in this project. Students, here we will be using the label tag. This label tag is used for the, as the name itself suggests, it is used to give a label for a particular ID that will be used in the form. For example, we have given label for gender, and we have specified the value GEN. Now, when we um, declare this particular option in the select, and we declare the name that we are opening this select tag for gender, we will provide an ID for it. An ID equals to GEN, so that we are giving this value, whichever value the user selects for it is going to be stored in the particular ID of GEN. This is where many students have made this mistake. They have given the same label for multiple different fields. For example, for first name, second name, last name, they have only used the ID of name. This creates a confusion. Remember, when a user is submitting this form, he would have entered first name, second name, and third name under the ID of just name. So this is where it is getting wrong in the back end. Whenever this form is getting submitted, multiple entries are being stored under the ID of just name. So your label needs to be different for all the different fields that we are going to make. Now for the second element or the second field in this particular row, we are adding the label for date of birth equals DOB. Now whenever we will give the input type in the second line, we will give the ID equals to DOB. This is where the ID comes into play. Input type for a particular date is given as type equals to date in double quotes. This particular input type opens the whole calendar for you to select the date, and ID we are giving as DOB. Similarly, we are again going to declare a new row where we will store the new data elements of that table. Please remember that we are declaring all these table elements inside the form, and we are using the form fields in a table. But first, we have declared the form tag. Please note that in this case we are not using any label for this input type. We can still give the ID, but we are not taken any label in this case. Label is used for the reader's readability or coder's readability so that he is able to understand where this ID is being used. It is optional and your program will work fine even without it. Many students also have this approach in mind and it is fine. So, as we can see, the date of birth and all these fields are working perfectly fine as we have in the example. One interesting thing to note in this case is the phone number will take the input type of TEL, which is used to specify the telephonic number. So it is of the format you will dial the dialer code before your phone number, for example 01346 and hyphen. You can separate it using the hyphen. Similarly, the postal codes and the country codes are also used in the mobile numbers. So we can define that in the pattern attribute. For example, that digit is going to be 0 to 9 and number of digits will be 12 in this case, right? So this is used to define the pattern of the number. Otherwise, the input will not be taken by this field. So it needs to be in this pattern. For example, it needs to have 9 1 before the number and it should be two digits separated by hyphen, and then further we need to have 10 more digits or 12 more digits based on the mobile number. So we can define that in the pattern attribute. Placeholder attribute is used to give a print message in the field that you are supposed to enter this format of the telephone, otherwise take the it will not take the value. We can see there is a kind of a lighter shade of gray which is suggesting you need to have 9 1 and 10 more digits after that. The similar coding will be done for the fourth row as it also has the same fields like the father name. It has the same things with the mother name, mother phone and occupation. So we will just paste it and we will just change the details. So we have reached the end of the fourth row, and here we will see that the fields are added accordingly. So we see the mother related fields are coming after the father related fields. So we will declare them in another TR declaration to bring them to the next row. And so we see that now it works fine. It now appears in the next line. We declare another row for the fifth row of this particular form, which is guardian related data. There is one interesting thing to note in this case, that we have declared input type radio and name equals father. Here we need to have the same name for the guardian. For example, we need to declare it name equals guardian. Otherwise, if I declare it with the name of mother, the field here is if the guardian is father or mother, and it should be a radio button. So in that case, I need to have the same name. If I have different name, in that case, I will be able to click on both father and mother, which is wrong because in guardian, I would like to have only either mother or father. Let us see the result of this. We will be able to click on both the radio buttons because the name is different in both the cases. See, we are able to click on both of them, which is wrong because if the guardian in this field, I would like only either father or mother to be clicked. For that, we will make a common name of this. Name will be equal to guardian in both the cases. Then we will see only one clickable radio button. We save this again and see the output. And this is the end of fifth row. Now we have another type of field which requires us to upload the mark sheet of previous class. In this case, the input type is going to be equals to file in double quotes. This particular declaration of input type will allow a user to upload the file from his computer to the server wherever this form is being submitted. Here we see the last row, and then we will finally add the submit button at the end of this particular row. We have final elements of the guardian detail. Many students have done this kind of mistake in this assignment, that they have used the input type as text, whereas the input type is going to be email, and that take cares of all the format of at the rate which will be used in the email. You cannot do any other entry in this particular format of input type email, and this is a required mandatory field. Finally, we have the submit button at the end of this program, which submits the data. Many students have also done this mistake. They have written value equals to save. I would recommend you to write the value equals submitted, because the form gets submitted after that. Even if you do not define the value, the submit button by default submits the form. Submit button appears at the top of the page. We need to declare a new row for this so that it appears at the bottom of this program. We will declare another tr element and one td element in it as well. And that is pretty much it. We have this for program, and as you can see, if we click on submit, it requires us to fill the mandatory field. That is all, students. Thank you very much for watching.